reason and not for a season. Tonight, sweetheart, tonight, you all mine, sucker. I told you, when you mess with 10 folks, you mess with blood. And I'm gonna prove it once and for all, right here, tonight. Like you said, if you that way sometime, mercy.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the UWF FuryCast, the Herb Abrams UWF podcast. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, and if you haven't tapped out by episode 15, I applaud your intestinal fortitude, as the great Gorilla Monsoon would say. That's right, we've done this to ourselves 15 times thus far, and if you follow along from the beginning, then you understand why I took that 2-year-long hiatus in between episode number 10 and episode number 11. But boy, does this one live up to the hype. The grudge match we've all been waiting for. Colonel DeBeers finally has to answer to Iceman King Parsons for whipping Parsons' alleged cousin, referee Larry Sampson. And tonight, he's going to seek revenge on the old Colonel. And that's just the main event. Tonight, Herb Abrams brings us a buffet of chaos like none other, mixed with all sorts of nonsense. But rather than me tell you about it, let's let Herb tell you about it.
Craig and Bruno will start off the Fury Hour with rugged Cowboy Bob Orton, the wonderful one, Paul, Mr. Wonderful Orndorff, the indestructible Dr. Death, Steve Williams, the crazy psychopath, Cactus Jack, and the feature, Colonel DeBeers meets up with his new nemesis, Iceman King Parsons. Plus, as always, another loony landing with Lou Albano in Captain Lou's corner. And another fan's question gets answered on Ask the Wrestlers.
That ring is your link to all the news and happenings in the UWF on the UWF Power Line. Find out where the match is going to be in the future. Plus, hear what your favorite UWF wrestler have to say. Just dial the Power Line at 1-900-4204-UWF. Call now.
All right, folks, there you have it. So let's strap in and make our way to New York City to the Grand Ballroom of the legendary Penta Hotel for UWF Fury Hour episode 15. And the show opens with a recap of why this whole feud exists. Weeks ago, Colonel DeBeers whipped referee Larry Sampson, that is, simply because he was black. Larry's cousin, Iceman King Parsons, shows up looking to avenge him, and now tonight, he finally gets that chance. Pretty straightforward story, right? Yeah, well, Craig George and Bruno Sammartino, they lay it out. And Craig says, racial fire will heat up tonight as the UWF Fury Hour gets set for another explosion. Bruno almost sounds disgusted. Herb sounds coked up. And once again, as Gorilla Monsoon would say, they're hanging from the rafters here in the Penta Hotel. But on second thought, considering the basis of this feud, perhaps that's not a Gorilla Monsoon saying we should be using this week. Never mind. Moving on. Opening match, we see Cowboy Bob Orton with John Tolos. He's going to be taking on Sonny Blaze. And of course, Cowboy Bob Orton is coming out to his Bonanza theme song that we've gotten used to. John Tolos is just as loud and annoying as ever, and he apparently lives at the Penta Hotel now. I don't know. He's taking on New York's own Sonny Blaze. And for some reason this week, it sounds like Bruno is constantly referring to Bob as Bob Horton. I mean, Bruno has been around Orton for years at this point. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, Sonny Blaze may be the hometown favorite, but Orton and Tolos just treat him like a dog with a chew toy here. Chicken wing suplex? Check. Illegal choking? Check. Tolos smashing Blaze's head into the ring apron? Another check. Tolos blowing a damn whistle like Bill Alfonso's crackheaded father? Absolutely a check. So finally, Orton climbs the ropes and he hits his superplex, or as Bruno called it, his powerplex. And this week was actually a pretty good one. We've seen some poorly applied superplexes from Cowboy Bob in the past here, but this one he really drove him down, and it looked really good, and it was enough to get the win for the ace. So after the match, there's still more action as Orton throws Blaze out of the ring towards Bruno Sammartino at the announce table. And Bruno dodges it like he's still in ring shape, proving he may be the only guy on the roster with any reflexes at all. But anyway, I don't know what we're setting up here, but Orton still has to contend with B. Brian Blair after headbutting his valet Honey. And next week, they're going to attempt to settle that feud, because right here on the Fury Hour, one-on-one, B. Brian Blair taking on Cowboy Bob Orton. So, yeah, let's see if we can get some resolution to a feud here in the UWF, perhaps for the first time. Next up, we've got Bruno and Herb shilling Bruno's book. So let's take a listen to that and see how natural Herb sounds trying to pitch this book here.
Bruno, I read your book, and it's fantastic. But I thought I knew everything about you, and I guess I don't, because I've learned some very interesting facts. What inspired you to write this?
Well, Herb, for years, people have been asking me so many things. They were curious about my life because they knew I came from Europe. They knew I was there during World War II. They wanted to know how I got into wrestling, my weightlifting. And so, but what really inspired me to write is because somebody said to me, Bruno, there are so many kids who start off with nothing, and they think that there's hopeless, there's no future, and you really came from nothing. And so I thought if I could inspire some youngsters into giving them the will, the desire that there is something out there for them. And so I wanted to put my whole life story in that book, not only about wrestling, but my very beginning, my experience, like I said, World War II, and coming over to America, what it was like into wrestling, and a lot of insight about the wrestling game itself.
What do you think has come of the wrestling game since you started out in the late 50s and 59, 60, as opposed to what's happening to wrestling today?
Well, I'm inspired, thanks to you, of the UWF, because it seems to me like we're getting back to basics in so many ways, because I was really disturbed with what I'd seen in more recent times, where it become a little bit too gimmicky, too show business, too many painted faces and too many animals and cartoons. So I was very disillusioned with all that, because I love wrestling, and so I'm glad that I think we're heading back to the right direction.
And if you love professional wrestling, you'll pick up an autobiography of Bruno Sammartino. Bruno Sammartino, wrestling's only living legend. Here's how to order.
Just send a check or money order along with your name and address to Bruno's Book, 702 Washington Street, Marina Del Rey, California, 90292. And be sure to include $2.50 for postage and handling.
All right, so if you ever wondered whether or not Bruno Sammartino was capable of bullshitting, you heard it right there, as he talks about how wrestling was moving into a direction that he didn't approve of, towards cartoons and silliness. But now Herb Abrams, as UWF, is bringing wrestling back to the glory days that he remembers. I'll take your word for it, Bruno. But, it was kind of unique for Bruno to have an autobiography at the time, because this was several years before Mick Foley made it cool for wrestlers to have autobiographies. So it was he was one of the first guys of prominent wrestlers anyway to have their own autobiography out. So I figured we'd include that in there. Next up, we got Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff taking on Chris Michaels. And Orndorff, he looks good here. He's out for revenge after that shared shot from Dr. Death a few weeks ago. And this match is a tune-up match, because next week's main event right here on the Fury Hour is going to be that huge grudge match, Mr. Wonderful versus Dr. Death. Chris Michaels gets in 0 offense. Orndorff hits a drop kick, a suplex, flying clothesline, and then, of course, a pile driver gets it done for the win. And post-match, Orndorff promises Dr. Death that next week the chair shot receipts are coming. So get ready, folks. 2 big, huge grudge matches next week. B. Brian Blair versus Orton, Orndorff versus Dr. Death. So that should be something. Next up, during the commercial break, they ran a full Joe Weider commercial where Orndorff sells you a metal contraption called an arm blaster, which is ironic considering Paul had an arm that looked like it had been blasted. Well, more references to that later on some other time. But anyway, moving on. In the 4th match, Orndorff's nemesis, Dr. Death Steve Williams, takes on Mike Durham. Dr. Death strolls the ring looking like an Oklahoma freight train, and poor Mr. Durham has no idea what he's in for, both in this squash with Dr. Death, nor what he's got coming for him in a couple of years when he becomes Johnny Grunge and forms public enemy with Ted Petty. But anyway, the future Johnny Grunge took quite the beating here. Dr. Death hit him with a clothesline that nearly took Durham's head off, which Bruno is still calling a clothesliner for some reason. Me and Bob had mentioned that quite a bit in the early episodes of this podcast. We see a press slam where Dr. Death just holds him up in there like nothing. Abdominal stretch that nearly breaks Durham in half. And then, of course, the Oklahoma Stampede Power Slam gets the win. Williams cuts a post-match promo saying it's going to be a bloodbath. He says, Orndorff, I'm going to bury you and kick sand in your face. I don't know where the sand's going to come from, but we shall see. But, yeah, I mean, Orndorff, he's fired up too. He gives a promo of his own, vowing to make Dr. Death regret that chair shot. So it's finally happening next week, the big one. All this bullshit has been leading to something, I guess. I mean, it has to be leading to something, right? I mean, this all hasn't been one colossal waste of fucking time, has it? I mean, surely we haven't seen a decent main event or a clean finish in a main event through 14 previous episodes. So surely next week's the week it all changes, right? Well, we'll see.
We'll return after these messages.
Relive the glory days of Memphis wrestling with the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. Each week, we go back in time to review USWA Championship Wrestling from the 1990s, episode by episode. Join us for watch-alongs, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive interviews with people who were there and lived it. Whether you grew up watching it or you're discovering it for the first time, this podcast is your ringside seat to Memphis wrestling history. It's all a part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Listen now at USWApodcast.com.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here, curator of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, inviting you guys to listen to many of the programs here as part of the WrestleCopia brand, including, but not limited to, the Wrestling Memory Grenade, currently covering the 1988 and the WWF project. You can also listen to the Regional Wrestling Podcast, where we talk the territories. You can also listen to the Wrestling Stoop with the legend himself, Bob Roop. But that's not all. You can also check out the Pro Wrestling Academy with the professor of Puroresu, Mr. Dan Ginnity. Dan and I go back in time and cover the history of Japanese professional wrestling in the English language. And you can listen to all of those shows and more, all part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, located over at WrestleCopia.com. That's WrestleCopia.com, and anywhere your podcast streaming needs are met. So if you're looking to support that next up-and-coming podcast brand, please consider making it WrestleCopia.
Tired of the same boring wrestling podcast? Need something with attitude, chaos, and maybe just a little cussing? That's STSPod.club, and we got it all covered. We've got wrestling weirdness with WTF News Desk, 5-minute time limit, and the Southern Fried Brain of me, BT, steering the whole ship. We also have rolling into Mempho every week about the current Memphis wrestling. Interviews, hot takes, and wrestling outrageousness so wild it might get you banned in 12 states. That's right, it's SDSPod.club, or search all podcast catchers for Shooting the Shiznit. where wrestling podcasts grow chest hair. Not sure what that meant. Love my mama.
Next up, Captain Lou's Corner, and each week these things seem to get stranger and stranger by the week. Today, Captain Lou is joined by the man in the main event, Iceman King Parsons, and I can't even begin to describe this. Let's just take a listen.
Yes, wrestling fans, it's Captain Lou Albano back again this week with the Captain's Corner. You know, I was appalled at the tactics of Colonel DeBeers coming out here and saying he would not wrestle or didn't want a black man in the ring. Well, let me tell you this. My cousin is Lou Duba that handles Evander Holyfield, the heavyweight champion of the world, and he's a black man, and I'm proud to say that I have a great black man right here with me, and here he comes. Come on out, brother, and tell him where black is at. Go ahead, brother. You know what, man? See, I was at home tending like I know how to do, and my cousin Larry called me. He said, it's some fool up here from South Africa trying to stir up a whole lot of garbage. He said, brother, I need you better than hog knee slop. So I didn't do number one thing. I set my T-bone to the side, and I cut this away. And who else? Who else? Nobody but that low-lifted fool, Colonel DeBeers. Hey, man, if you don't like what's happening in the United States, why don't you just get the hell out of here? See, because I'm here for a reason and not for a season. And when you put your hand on my cousin, you made it a family affair. Okay, brother, you know what I've got to say? The man is right. This is America, brother. This is made up of all ethnic groups. The black, the white, the green, the yellow. We got it all together, baby. We all here as a team, as a combined effort. And if DeBeers, if you don't like that, brother, then get your hiney right out of here, baby, and back to South Africa. This is a black athlete. He is a brother. And I, Captain Lou, stake my reputation that he is welcome on my show, baby, anytime he wants. Well, I feel good. Go ahead. One more thing. Woo. Blood is thicker than mud, and you made it a family affair. You got that? Like Mama says, it be that way sometimes. Mama don't do no Bowden House talking around here, baby. Woo, woo. Give me some, brother. Now I feel good. Woo, Captain Lou. Phew.
Wow. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, we've heard 5 or 6 promos from Iceman Parsons since he debuted in the UWF, and in every single one of them, he's let us know he's here for a reason and not for a season, and that blood is, in fact, thicker than mud. Captain Lou trying to make sure and establish how down he is with the brother. Just, good Lord, what an odd promo. And so to even that out, let's hear from someone else that, of course, known for his fabulous microphone skills, the legendary Killer Kowalski. This has got to be better than Captain Lou, right?
Hi, Killer Kowalski here. You've seen me before, all you old fans. Now it's for the young fans to see the young wrestlers and UWF. The world's champions are here. UWF produces the best there is in wrestling. So tune in and listen to the best there is. World champions in wrestling. UWF. None other. That is the best.
So yeah, Killer Kowalski, not known for his promo ability. And so why not? Let's get him on here and help promote the company. Anyway, sorry, I just had to include that in. It's not every day you get to hear a promo from Killer Kowalski. Next up is the Ask the Wrestlers question of the week. And they open up the fan mail, and a girl from California has seriously sent a letter asking if Mr. Wonderful is in fact dead, because that was the rumor that was going around. So what better way to debunk that rumor than to have Mr. Wonderful himself answer the question on the TV show whether or not he's dead. Orndorff says, I'm clearly alive. People like to spread gossip. Don't believe everything you hear. And for that, this girl wins a free UWF t-shirt. So, but yes, in this time frame, there were a couple of different stories going around about Mr. Wonderful. One was he left the business and opened a bowling alley in Georgia, which apparently at one point was true. The other one was that Paul Orndorff was in fact dead, which turned out not to be true, at least not for a long time anyway. Next up, a crowd favorite of the UWF, even if he wasn't supposed to be. The man they labeled the unpredictable Cactus Jack, taking on Mike Williams. Yes, Mick Foley here. Cactus Jack came in with a game plan for this one. He clotheslines him from behind so hard they both fall out of the ring. He slams him on the concrete. He drops that famous elbow drop of his on the concrete, which to this day is still just crazy to me when I see it happen. He suplexes the guy back in the ring. He eventually drops the elbow for the pin, and the Penta crowd is loving him just like the crowds in Reseda and everywhere else they've ran shows. But Cactus Jack looks like he belongs here in the UWF more than anyone, and he's got the crowd reaction to prove it. So it's going to be fun for us to continue to watch Cactus Jack, the unpredictable Cactus Jack's progression here in Herb Abrams' Universal Wrestling Federation. But now it's time for the main event. That's right, the Super Grudge match. Iceman King Parsons taking on the man they keep calling on TV, the South African racist. It's almost as if it's part of his name now, folks. Colonel DeBeers. This is what we came for. We came here to see this awful racist bigot finally get his, and then we can all go home happy. Now, DeBeers makes his way to the ring, and it's worth noting, I noticed it, but then Craig George actually called attention to it. DeBeers comes out without his eye patch he's been wearing the entire time he's been in the UWF. That's right, after weeks of doing this hokey-ass comedy eye patch gimmicks for laughs, I guess, while also doing an over-the-top racist gimmick for heat. Well, this week, in his big main event, it's just been dropped. I mean, could we not have had some kind of story where his arch enemy referee pulled the, eye patch off and, somehow proved to the board, the directors of the UWF, that he was faking this eye injury, or have the Iceman rip it off at a quick start, brawling at the beginning. But nope, he just stops wearing it. And worse yet, if he was just hoping no one would notice, well, the commentators pointed it out. And who can blame them? That's their job. But anyway, DeBeers is in the ring, sans eye patch, and then Ice Ice Baby hits. So it either has to be one of two people. Either it's JC Ice, Jamie Dundee. Too early for that. So it's the Iceman King Parsons dancing his way down the ring. Because, even if you're on your way to a, heated grudge match, to a fight with a bitter rival who has wronged your family member, and you've been wanting to get a piece of them, you still need to take time and dance and have some fun on the way down, right? Perhaps that's where Jeff Hardy learned it from Iceman Parsons. But anyway, this match was heated. Iceman dominates early, punches, headbutts. He hits his big rumper stumper butt in the corner, as they call it. DiBiase eventually uses those thick-heeled boots like weapons to take control at one point. We got slams, chops. It's a pretty heavy-hitting match, and this is, I would dare say, the longest main event we've had on the Fury Hour. If it's not the longest, it's right up there. But anyway, Iceman fires back. At one point, Colonel DeBeers goes to give him a suplex, and Iceman turns that into a small package for a pinfall victory, folks. It took 15 episodes of the Fury Hour, but we finally got a clean pinfall finish in the main event. So finally, some justice. You see, gang, good always wins out over evil in the end. You just have to have faith. You just have to know that the right thing to do is always the right thing to do. And in the end, wait a minute, what the fuck's happening now? So DeBeers goes nuts in the post-match, grabs a belt from ringside, starts choking the Iceman with it, wraps it around his neck, and then flings him over the rope. So yes, the racist who we were so happy that just got defeated and was taught a lesson is now hanging our black hero right here on television. God damn it, Herb. There you have it. I mean, just when you think that good is going to prevail and that this, this black man is going to make this racist honky pay, the old racist loser attacks him from behind and hangs him with a freaking belt because, of course, he would, folks. It's the UWF. Never expect any satisfaction from the UWF. Never expect any justice. Until next week, right? I mean, next week we'll get a real payoff between Orndorff and Williams, won't we? Surely we will, right? He wouldn't screw us 16 weeks in a row. Herb wouldn't do that to us, would he? Well, let's see what else Herb has in store for us next week here on the Fury Hour.
What a card next week, beginning with Steve the Wild Thing Ray, David Sammartino going up against the Russian Bear Ivan Koloff, the exciting new tag team, the Power Twins, the controversial matchup with Brian Blair with his manager Honey and Captain Lou in his corner, meets Cowboy Bob Orton and his mentor John Tollers. Newcomer sensation Sonny Beach, and the match of this new year, Steve Dr. Death Williams against Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff. What a card! UWF, the Universal Wrestling Federation, the pinnacle in sports programming.
Ah, yes, the pinnacle in sports programming indeed. And that was it, folks. That's episode 15 of the UWF Fury Hour. The long-awaited showdown between the Iceman and Colonel DeBeers delivers, for a moment at least. But, of course, Herbie finds a way to fuck it up in the end because, well, thanks a lot, cocaine. But Russian chains, belts, and blatant racism, that's the cornerstones of the Universal Wrestling Federation. I'm Gene Jackson, and this has been the UWF FuryCast. Subscribe, rate, and review. Tell your friends, and if you dare, join me next time as we witness Orndorff versus Dr. Death, Orton versus B. Brian Blair, and I'm sure those two matches will surely deliver a satisfying ending, even though tonight's didn't, right? If they don't deliver, I can just tell you that who are we kidding? I'll keep watching this because, as always, I watch this shit so you don't have to. You're welcome. See you next time.